Bueno amigos, aquí nos encontramos con mi amigo Harold Lang. How you doing, Harold?
Great.
You still sleeping? You gotta wake up with a coffee.
Oh, yeah, you need this coffee in the morning for sure. Absolutely.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
Just beautiful Tampa weather.
It's nice. Got a little bit of cooler weather here, a little less humidity. Gorgeous day. Bluebird sky, gorgeous day.
Un día precioso para pescar la cherna aquí en Tampa.
Out there.
We're going grouper digging tomorrow morning.
Yep.
Vamos a coger la cherna mañana por mañana con Capitán Harold Lang, amigos. No se nos vaya.
Pescando en los cayos, eso es lo que quiero. El capitán que se llama Diego, ay, yo no me quejo. Pescando en los cayos, pesco lo que quiero. Con el capitán que se llama Diego, ay, yo no me quejo. Tú puedes pescar con él, rubia, chena y colorado. Pescando en los cayos, pesco lo que quiero. Con el capitán que se llama Diego, ay, yo no me quejo.
Pescando los Cayos traído ustedes por Ashley Light Baits, Bahama Restaurant and Fish Market, River Marine Supply, su tienda completa, Mercury Marine número 1 el agua, the beautiful Florida Keys and Key West, come as you are.
So this is Tampa Bay down here, okay? Panhandle's up here. We're gonna be fishing right out of here. You can kind of see this reef line here that this is like the 50-foot reef line. That's probably where we're gonna fish here. And then there's a 20-foot reef line in also. We're going to fish that.
So this is about 30 miles out.
This is 35 miles out, yes.
Oh, okay.
If you were going to St. Pete, it'd be about 15 miles. The area we're at here is Bayport, Homosassa, Weeki Wachee, and there's a lot of little, kind of like the Keys a little bit, a lot of little barrier islands out here, a lot of little
Typically
keys
what
out
we'll
there.
do, we'll start with cut bait, which we typically call threadfin herring, sometimes sardines. Usually start by cutting them in half, put them on the hook. Kind of gets the smell in the water so that the fish become interested, they come around. We won't start fishing in 20 feet of water till we're out 20 miles. So that first 10 miles is not much. There's a lot of sand, some hard bottom, but mainly we're going to be going out. We're going to start about 30 feet, then maybe move to 50 feet.
Con el pucho de la vida apretado entre los labios, la mirada turbia y fría, un poco lento el andar, todo la esquina del barrio, curta ya de recuerdo.
Sí,
Como
totalmente.
Amigo, Rick no va a pescar porque le duele la espalda, pero él va a disfrutar del día.
Sí.
Rick le encanta la naturaleza. ¿Verdad, Rick?
Y las cervezas.
¿Y la cerveza también?
Sí.
Tú vienes a gozar.
The bigger they are and the more lively, the bigger fish you're going to catch.
Good, beautiful.
This holding pin is much better. The metal one, they get that red nose. They start bumping up against it, so you can't keep them in there very long. Oh boy, they'll find it.
Grouper time.
La cherna. Las últimas tres, Rick, a mí no me hace falta un jamón. Last three.
All right.
On the way out. Después we'll get there.
Cherna.
Aquí en Tampa, en Hernando Beach, vamos a salir como 30 millas, me dice Harold, como 30 millas. Aquí, esa es la cosa, que aquí hay que salir lejos a coger pescado. Pero no importa, vamos a salir. Aquí tenemos buenas condiciones con dos motores Mercury, estamos bien contentos. So you've been fishing in this area, Hernando, for what, 30 years maybe?
Up and down. Used to fish out of Tarpon Springs a lot, but then we started fishing out of here. This is kind of a little pristine area. There's no condominiums. It's a small community, so there's not a lot of fishing pressure. And for gag grouper, this area of the coast from probably Crystal River to St. Petersburg is the best area there is.
Really?
Yeah, for gag grouper.
You see a lot of reds here too, right?
We get a lot of red grouper. The red grouper were a couple years ago were thick, and they were all small. Now we're starting to get some legal ones, but the gag population has definitely come back.
Great.
Occasionally we'll see a true black, which is what you get on the Atlantic side and down the Keys. But very rarely we get black grouper around here. They're all gag grouper.
Aprendí todo lo bueno, aprendí todo lo malo. Sé del beso que se compra, sé del beso que se da, del amigo que es amigo, siempre y cuando le convenga. Y sé que con mucha plata uno vale mucho. Me aprendí que en esta vida hay que llorar si otros lloran. Si una murga se ríe, uno se debe reír. No pensar ni equivocado para qué, si igual se vive. Y además corre ese riesgo que te bauticen.
Hay diferentes técnicas y sistemas para coger diferentes especies de pescado. Harold ha estado pescando la cherna y varios pescados en esta zona por muchos años. Tiene unas técnicas, unas ideas, innovaciones él, que trabajan perfectamente bien, como el boogie.
This jug, when it goes down, it'll stay right on the spot. It won't drift away.
I see.
So it stays right there. And this little fin takes it into the current. So this line shows you which way the current's coming.
Wow,
so it helps you with anchoring. So you know it's right on the spot, and you know the current's going this way. So it helps you with anchoring.
Does it adjust the depth of the line to where it doesn't?
Once it hits the bottom, it comes off this spool, and there's tension on this.
Oh, so there's a spring.
There's a spring in here, so there's tension on it. So that tension stays there.
Keeps it
So
straight up and
you
down.
have to have enough weight on it to get it right to the bottom, and then you wind it up this way. Here's the rock.
This is a bunch of rubble also here, a bunch of rocks.
Rock, yes, a bunch of lime rock is what it is. And but most of this Gulf is sand, and so that's what the majority of it is. And of course, you get the rock, which attracts the bait fish, which then attracts the big fish.
Right.
So they feed off the bait fish.
And that's where the grouper like to
And
lay.
that's where the
in
grouper
rocks.
like. They like to eat and feel secure. Another their fish right here. All right, so there's a little rock. There's more fish right there, right on the top of the rock. The rock's coming up. There's the bottom of the rock. Right there. All right, here's the rock. So we got a few.
Harold, so you don't use much chum in this area? You
No,
mainly use
no, we don't. We don't typically have to use the chum. We just use the dead bait that'll work well with the chum.
Okay.
And if you start catching grunts, they're the best chum there is because they come up and they poop, and that attracts the other fish.
I see.
So
basically, cut bait is what you use to
cut
chum.
bait,
'cause
yeah.
you-
Some guys use chum, but I don't think you really need to with grouper, and you don't want them to get too full.
I see. And you're basically chumming the bottom.
Yes.
You're not chumming the surface.
Yes,
like
so
for yellow
yes, right. It's
snapper.
not going out. The fish are on the bottom.
La cherna, como el paco criollo, pica en el fondo.
I usually use a 7.5 foot rod. I like these ugly sticks, Shakespeare ugly sticks. They're great rods. You want a rod that'll do some of the work for you. It's got a little bit of a bend, so it'll fight that fish for you. It's not a broomstick. The broomsticks, they're not going to break, but they wear on you all day long.
And that's not as flimsy, because you definitely need some backbone for them.
Right, you need backbone. The fight on the grouper is the first 3 feet, because that fish wants to get back to his home, and you don't want him to go back to home. So you got to try and get his head up, because if he gets the turn on you, they'll break off and they'll lose them or they'll get in the rock. So the first 3 feet is the battle. So you've got to get him up off that bottom the first 3 feet. If you get him off the first 3 feet, it'll usually work out
That's
well.
why I love grouper fishing, because it's a challenge.
So I use this braided line. A lot of people still use mono. I like the braided line because I can feel the bite better. It doesn't stretch as much. I typically use about 60 to 80 pound line, and the leader is going to be 80 to 100 pounds, fluorocarbon. It's a 6/0 hook, and then what I do is I put the hook is about 3 feet a leader between that and the sliding sinker. The sinker will slide about 3 or 4 feet.
Oh, interesting. So you put 2 swivels and you put the sinker in the middle
Right.
of the 2 swivels.
That's what I do.
Cool, I never
Now,
seen that.
what I found with with the braided line, I have to put like a piece of mono here about 3 feet, because otherwise, if the sinker's right here, it gets tangled up in the braided line for some reason. So I put like I tie to the line a piece of mono, tie it right to the braided line.
I see.
Then I have a swivel here. These barrel swivels, I think they're rated 100 pounds. And then the 3-ounce sliding sinker. Sometimes you can put that sinker and let it go right onto the hook. They call it a knocker rig, and they bite right on that too. So sometimes we use that. We use that a lot for actually we use it for snapper. So Today we may have to go at a little heavier weight because we got a pretty ripping current here, but this will slide this way. I found that way the fish can take it and go a little ways and he feels comfortable. If it's right on there, he's picking up that weight and he probably feels that, so he doesn't like it as much. All right, so we're gonna start with some threadfin herring here, okay? And what I typically do is I usually cut them in half. If I use a whole one, I always break off the tail because otherwise it tends to butterfly down and it doesn't look natural. So, and I'll bait them. I try and put the hook through the eye and then through the head if I can. Or the tail, I'll put it right back at this area. So we'll do this one here. Try it here.
Yo voy a pescar con un spinner, ya que a mí me gusta más la pesca con un spinner que un convencional. Harold trajo varias varas y todas están rigueadas para este tipo de pesca de cherno, obviamente. Es lo que estamos haciendo hoy. Le voy a poner una carnada viva, un pinfish. Harold se la puso por la nariz, por abajo por la nariz. Y yo se la voy a poner igual. Ya que él es maestro de la pesca aquí en Tampa.
Sometimes you can feel the pinfish, they start getting really active. There we go.
Nice one, nice one. Nice one, Harold.
We'll see what he is.
Fighting like a grouper.
Fighting like a grouper, fighting like a gag.
Como ustedes pueden ver, amigos, enseguida esa cherna quiso bajar.
Okay, small gag. But you can see where the hook, where that circle hook, right in the corner of the mouth. But you can see they're different than the black. See, their coloration's different than the black grouper. And the fin is different. And you can handle them this way with your hand in here. But if you come around here, this will cut you. It'll cut your hand, so wear gloves. But you probably got your bait.
Bueno, vamos a probar, como dice Harold, por el ojo. Con el 7/0 hook, circle hook. Voy a coger mi primera cherna. Un threaded herring. Vamos para el fondo. You got faith in me, Harold, right? You're giving me the first one.
He's the man. I've seen this guy catch a lot of fish.
La pesca de la cherna aquí es interesante. Ya que estamos pescando solo 30 pies de agua, estamos 22 millas afuera.
So I always kind of feel it with my thumb. It's just I can get a feel. I feel that line. It's very sensitive. So, okay. So we're on the bottom. A bite already.
Así, this is a good angle. Another small red. Nice.
We need to.
There it is again. The circle hook doing its job.
See how easy it came out? What happens if you slack up, if you don't keep tension on them, that hook will do this and it comes out. That's why you always have to keep tension on them. A lot of people want to whip them up and down like you do with...
That's when the slack comes in.
That's where the slack comes in. So then that hook will just do this and come right out.
Whether it's a hook or a regular J hook.
Exactly.
That could happen.
Mm-hmm. So with grouper, you keep tension on them the whole time.
35 millas afuera en el Golfo con la pesca de cherna, así en la área de Tampa. Y Harold no tiene problemas porque confía en su Mercury Verados.
It's like a slingshot.
I'm in love. Woo! This puts the fun back into boating. This is really neat.
To discover the Verado difference, find a local dealer at mercurymarine.com/Verado. Then take a test drive and experience it for yourself.
Wow.
El pescador y el amante del mar es como un niño entrando a una tienda de caramelos cuando entra a River Marine Supply. River Marine Supply, a fisherman's candy store.
Esto te va a representar un gag de 20, 21 pulgadas. Bueno, Rick, tú buscas el fondo también.
Sí.
Cuando toca el fondo, le das una vueltecita para darle acción, ¿no?
Así.
Y te preparas.
¿Tú sabes lo que vi, Pacheco? Que abajo de la cama está guabá. Abajo de la cama está guabá. Que mira que te pica y se te va. Ay, cuidado que te pica y se te va. Ay, me pico aquí, me rompo allá.
Aquí tenemos a Rick Martínez con la primera cherna. Ahí. Bueno, la carnita roja. Red grouper.
That's a nice red.
Como pueden ver, amigos, esto no pasa siempre con los circle hooks.